he's hit for power. And, so that means that the Cleveland Guardians, when they are able to get hits, they have to be aggressive with their base running. They have to be aggressive in everything they do. They have to be aggressive when you're out at the plate hitting the ball. You have to swing at things. One of the things that, these players have been working on, Stephen Kwan specifically, as I heard, is that he spent a lot of time this off season working on missing because it had been so ingrained on him not to miss. And, dude is hitting over a 300 for an average. It's been so ingrained in him not to miss the ball. He actually, had to learn how to miss and how to learn how to handle that. And he's still not really missing because before he went out for injury, he's back now, thank the Lord. Before he went out for injury, he was hitting over 300. He's still hitting over for 300. He's still driving in, runs and stuff like that. He's still getting on base as your leadoff hitter, doing everything he needs to do for you. He had to learn how to miss the ball and not be perfect. I'm okay with him wanting to be perfect. I have no issues with that whatsoever. So, Stephen Kwan, hats off to you. But this team, has taken on a different identity that they had from Tito, and they're going out there and they're kicking butts and they're not taking any names. So I'm excited to see what this team can do. One of the issues that they had is starting pitcher Ben Lively. So that is an issue that they're having with him right now. So he's not on the road trip anymore. He has got home to Cleveland, and they are evaluating him for injury. The organization has kind of been a little bit mum about it, what's going on with him, but there was some lower body tightening and some upper body tightening. So keep your eyes and ears open because that could be another blow for the starting rotation, which is kind of struggling right now. They haven't played well, and Tristan is still battling through that injury. And I don't know if that injury is going to go anywhere. He rehabbed, after he got hurt and he opted not to have surgery. And that's one of the things that, I gripe about. I can't continue to gripe about it anymore because, it is what it is. But he chose not to have the surgery. So now anytime he pitches, I'm just waiting to see if anything is going to happen with his arm. So, that's definitely very scary to me to see what's going on. Is definitely, scary every time I see him pitch. So, I'm just wondering, is something going to happen? And we need Tristan. We need him to be our pseudo ace right now because Shane Bieber is done for the season. So we need Tristan to get in there and have good performances. And we're kind of not. He's kind of being bailed out. And that's one of the great things about this offense is that they're going to look to pick him up and have his back. And I think, in that Kansas City game, they told him, don't worry, we got your back. And they were able to come back and win that game. So, one of the things is you need Tristan to pitch well. That's your number one. And, one of the things is, with that injury, he lost a little bit of velocity on his fastball. His cutters, his splitters, his sliders are doing okay. They're good, but the fastball has lost velocity, and that's how a lot of hitters are being able to catch up to it and actually hit it. So, that's one of the problems that is being faced right now. So we want, Tristan to be able to get healthy first and foremost, because we are going to need him, even though he's not pitching, throwing some quality pitches when it comes to his fastball, which usually the fastball is the number one arsenal for a pitcher, even though he's not having the best success with it right now. You have to have him throwing his other pitches at a pretty good clip to do that. So also that's when you need the rest of the team to, be on it that day when he's kind of going. So you don't need another blow of injury to your starting rotation. So Ben Lively, we don't know when he's going to come back just yet. So we don't really know anything about that other than the tightening. So Gavin Williams will be back soon. So that's another pitcher who was pretty good for the Cleveland Guardians. He's doing rehab starts in AAA Columbus. So he's getting closer to getting back and being with this team because we definitely need his arm right now. You got Tanner Bybee, who's doing pretty well. So that's a good thing. Carlos Carrasco, he is not pitching very well at all. One of the things is he benefits as well from this team, coming back and being able to score runs because him and Tristan are getting in the holes early. Just the other day, I forgot what team it was against, but Carlos had got in a 4-0 hole. So this team is so good they can dig him out of holes the majority of the time. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to take a quick break. You are listening to Her in the Huddle on WOVU 95.9 FM. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to Her in the Huddle on WOVU 95.9 FM. This is your girl, Rachel Hill, the First Lady of Sports. Remember to always keep it locked here on your regular radio dial at 95.9 FM. You can download the WOVU app and listen to us on the go. You can also listen online at WOVU.org, and you can always contact the station with any questions, comments, concerns, anything like that. We'd love to hear from you at 216-271-0959. And I'm here with Brandy Fairfax. And Brandy's just coming on with us now. But Brandy, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I was just talking some Guardians. So we were just talking a little bit about the pitching rotation. And right before we went to break, I was talking about how Gavin Williams is doing some rehab starts in AAA. So he is getting close to coming back. And we really need him right now with Ben Lively returning home from the road trip because they still have a couple games that they have to do. They still have 2 games against Cincinnati and they have 3 games against Kansas City on this road trip. But he came home after playing the Marlins and he was pulled after 65 pitches, I believe on Saturday, and he came back home because he's hurt. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I think at the beginning of the season when, Shane Bieber was hurt, everybody was like, oh, shoot. But then, he kind of came out of nowhere and people weren't really expecting him to play as well that he's been playing, especially, Shane Bieber was the Cy Young Award winner a few years ago. So I think people, were nervous with him replacing him, but he's done pretty well, being in the rotation. He has uh, a 2.59 ERA, which is one of the lowest among the starters that we have right now on the roster. We've seen Tristan McKenzie struggle so far this season. So he's been one of the few consistent guys that we have had in the rotation. So hopefully, he's able to be back soon.
Excuse me. Yes, absolutely agree. He's been one of the bright starts in that pitching rotation because of the issues that we've had with Tristan. So he losing him could possibly be a huge blow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right now he ranks 18th in starters with his ERA. So I think good without having Shane, and him coming in like that, people weren't expecting it. So I'm glad he's able to be at the start that he's been. But it sucks.
Yeah.
We've had struggled with these injuries the past few years. So hopefully, I think that's the one thing I hope for the rest of the season is no more injuries for this team. We don't need that.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a way that we're going to be able to get around that because for whatever reason, Cleveland teams are injury prone, and I'm not just talking about the Guardians. I'm talking about the Cavs. I'm talking about the Browns. We're just injury prone. That's unfortunately we get good breaks every once in a while, but seems like we get more bad breaks than we do the good. So we definitely need him. Because of the issues that Tristan McKenzie and Carlos Carrasco have had, where they're getting into big holes very early in the game. And we're talking about, I just talked about the game against Kansas City, in which they got into a 5-0 hole, and they were able to come back. What are your thoughts about that game? Because that was a big game against the Royals, and that was going to set the tone for the series. We only had 2 games against them, but the third one is going to be made up August 26th, a doubleheader. But what is it to say for you about that offense when they get in, when pitchers get into big holes and they're able to come back and win games?
Yeah, I think it says a lot, and I think first to the coaching staff because they've done an amazing team. I think right now they're looking at a position that they were a few years ago, which is great props to the coaching staff to be able to do that. I think last year we saw them get into these holes and there was no way that they were coming back into these games.
Yeah.
Right. It says a lot though about the offense. I think, looking at other teams, the Dodgers, those West Coast teams, they are the heavy hitters and we've done better at that with home runs, but the Guardians as a team usually aren't heavy hitters. So I think the one thing I like them seeing this year is that, they're not trying for all these home runs. They just want to get the ball in play to keep the people moving around the bases and get those runs in. So they've been pretty successful with that.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely agree. So, thank God, Tanner Bobby is doing pretty well. Carlos Carrasco, same situation as well with Tristan getting in the holes early. We talked about this last week. Not sure why he's on the team other than that veteran presence. So, it'll definitely be helpful to have Gavin back as soon as possible, especially if Ben was to go down. So, what were your thoughts against that series against Kansas City? You had that game where they came back 5 runs down and they were able to beat Kansas City 8-5. That bullpen came in and shut down Kansas City. Well, they really shut down Bobby Witt Jr. and Salvador Perez, which is pretty much mainly, Kansas City's team. So they came in and, shot them down, which is, our bullpen has pretty been lights out, one of the best in all of the league. But what were your thoughts about that series? What did that series tell you? Because it was a huge game, especially for Kansas City, because I had my cousin and one of my friends, hit me up like, hey, we about to do this. I'm like, not so fast, fellas. But it was a big game, in this division.
Yeah, definitely a big game in the division. We're like 4 games ahead right now. So obviously we want to keep the lead. But I think this is going to be huge month for them in their season. So hope, they're able to continue to push it out. But our bullpen is amazing right now. One of the best in baseball. Looking at Emmanuel Clase, I think last year he kind of had an off year. And I think, this year we're seeing some improvement in him with his consistency. Him being able to come in right now, we're leading the league with the best bullpen ERA. We have the lowest batting average, the seventh inning onward. And that's in the seventh and ninth inning is the most important to be able to finish out that game. So the bullpen has definitely been helpful in getting us to win those games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then coming off that loss, they had a loss against Miami, and Miami is not known as one of the best teams, in the major leagues or whatever. And they opened up with a loss to them, but they were able to come back and win games 2 and 3 to win the series against the Marlins quite handily, which is good. In that game Saturday, the second game is when Ben Lively was removed from the game after 65 pitches because of the tightening he felt in his body. And he was kind of mad about it, but I'm glad that they're trying to be cautious more than anything. So that's definitely a good thing. And then they're off tonight, so it's really sucking because I love my Guardians more than anything. But trying to watch other teams play. There's no basketball right now, so I don't really have any teams that I follow other than the Guardians for the most part. I mean, I watch and stuff like that, but I'm like, ooh, tonight is a different night because there's no Guardians on. So they're off, but they have the Battle of Ohio coming up against Cincinnati. So usually that's something that's kind of fun.
Hey, you can watch some WNBA tonight.
Oh, who on tonight?
The Fever are playing the Sun at 7.
Oh, that Connecticut Sun?
Yep, and it's on NBA TV. So.
Oh, really? Okay. What time they come on?
7.
Okay, all right. When I leave from the studio, when I get home, I'm gonna check that out. So thank you for reminding me. I need to do better about looking up those schedules. I'm like, oh man, ain't nothing really going on. But those games with Caitlin Clark, um, they're pretty good and pretty entertaining, and we're going to talk about her when we come back from break. We're going to talk about her not making the Olympic team and stuff like that, and all the stuff that's being all the controversy that's being stirred. So we're going to talk about her. So we're going to go ahead and take an early break. We're going to bring Willie back in when we come back, but we're going to go ahead and take a quick break. You're listening to Her in the Huddle on WOVU 95.9 FM. We're going to be right back. All right. Welcome back to Her in the Huddle on WOVU 95.9 FM. This is your girl, Rachel Hill, the First Lady of Sports. I have Brandy Fairfax with me. And I have our friend of the show, Willie Epting Jr., who's going to join us the last 30 minutes of the show. Willie, know your thing, is baseball. We got a little bit more baseball to talk, I believe. But how you doing, man? What's going on with you? What you been up to?
What? 5.0, baby, 12, whatever you want to call it. The sirens, I'm in the building. Thank you for having me, sis. It's been such a long time. I was telling somebody just a few minutes ago how much I miss being on this show.
We miss you too, Willie. We miss you too. But here you are today, so it's so exciting to have you with us.
Yes, I am very like Eddie Murphy said on Coming to America. I'm very happy to be here.
Why don't you offer it for us? We were just talking some baseball. We were just talking a little bit of Guardians, and what can you offer something for us for the national perspective of the Guardians in Major League Baseball? What you're seeing and hearing out there in Texas?
Yeah, you guys have a very good chance of winning it all this year.
We're on pace for over 100 wins.
Very good chance of winning it all. With Stephen Voigt, and it would take a former Oakland A to get the Guardians ship going in the right direction. What's up, Brandy? Girl,
Hey.
Brandy's TikToks, man, she be having like 10,000 people watching her lives on TikTok. And I'd be like, this, I can remember when. That's what I'm gonna say.
Oh my god.
But it's good to see you, Brandy, as well. But yeah, the Guardians, man. I mean, when you think about the way they play ball, y'all don't have no power, right?
Yeah.
They really don't have no power outside of J-Ram and Naylor. So
we actually just talked about that too. I was just talking about where's our power coming from, because I don't know other than them two.
Who cares? I mean, really, who cares at this point? This is the reminiscent because y'all's team like to steal bases, right?
Yep.
Yeah, one of the top teams in stolen bases in all of baseball.
Yes, sir.
What we are seeing is the time machine of baseball, going back to when Ricky Henderson and Tim Raines and Willie McGee and Lonnie Smith and Ichiro Suzuki, all these dudes that were still in bases on a very high level. And if the Cleveland Guardians continue to play baseball like this, which I don't see why they won't, and they're really reflective of how their manager played when he was with Oakland. Not a very powerful guy, put the ball in play. Very good teammate, obviously a leader. So what you guys have going is kind of reminiscent of how the A's played back in the mid to late 80s before the Bash Brothers got there. But even when they were there, Ricky Henderson was still leading things off and still in bases like nobody's business. So what we're seeing with the Guardians is the advent of the time machine being enacted in the sport. And why not? When you have the rule changes that you have, the bigger bases that you have, I don't know what y'all's extra inning record is, but the ghost runner on second base, I still love that rule.
I hate it.
Huh?
I hate it.
You hate it?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, well.
I've never liked it.
If your team is being successful because of it, I'm going to tell you like Ric Flair said, if you don't like it, learn to love it because it's the best thing going today. So yeah, exactly. And all that doesn't matter if your team is hoisting up the trophy in November. And
I'll take it, baby.
The Guardians have just as good a shot as any. Now they got to get over the mental hurdle that is the New York Yankees. And with Garrett Cole coming back sooner than later, and Carlos Rodon and the other kid, Gil, out there in New York doing their thing from the bump. It's going to be a mental hurdle for me, in my opinion, for the Guardians to get through that. But they can do it. They can do it. I'm excited. I've been looking at you guys from afar, and I said, man, I need to get Rachel or Brandy or Kate or somebody on in Cleveland so I can get the perspective from a Clevelander or a Guardian Nation on what's going on, because they're doing so very well. Is when they were struggling is when we were finding things to say good about them. But now that they're playing like this, it's like, you guys have a shot. you guys have a valid shot of going all the way.
Hmm.
Maybe you need to get a
Yeah.
maybe you need another arm in there at the deadline.
Mhm.
But I mean, it ain't if it ain't broke offensively, don't fix it.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that we were going to talk about. At the trade deadline. Where do we think? What are the things that we think need to be done? And like you talked about getting another arm there, because right now things aren't looking too hot with Tristan not opting to have surgery. So you saw kind of what happened with Shane and them not opting to have surgery last year, and you saw the after effects. It took 2 games for Shane to break down. One of the things with Tristan, and I mentioned this a little bit earlier in the show, is that his slider and curveball and stuff like that are great pitches, but he's lost velocity on his fastball, and that's why it's being taken out of the park.
Mm-hmm.
So unfortunately, he's getting his team in the holes very early in the games. Just against Kansas City, we talked about that. But you had that team, go off offensively, and a couple errors by Kansas City, and they were able to win that game. So something has got to be done because Ben Lively, who has been a pleasant surprise for us this season, was pulled out of the game on Saturday with body tightness. So we don't really know much of anything about that. He was taken home from the road trip. So, that could be a big blow. But Gavin Williams is in AAA right now doing a couple rehab starts. So we could have him back soon. But, with Carlos Carrasco, his arm is terrible, it's mush. He's out there just throwing pitches. And I'm not at right now as this, I think the weakness right now is starting pitching on this team. And usually starting pitching is a strength for the
Yep.
Guardians organization.
Yep. Yep. 100.
So right
100.
now, pitching is a weakness for us. But there's been some pleasant surprises as well. Daniel Schneeman, is a contact hitter and has been playing great defense for you at shortstop. So his first major league hit was the first pitch, and that was a double. So you got some great play out of him. Kyle Manzardo too. You got a couple of rookies who got called up who are buying into what this Cleveland Guardians team is selling. And you have the outcome right now. You have a team that's 44-22 and on pace to win over 100 games and on pace to put themselves in the playoffs and possibly the World Series, like you said. I don't want to speak World Series yet. It's in the back of my mind, but right now I'm just like, I don't want to say anything about the World Series because I just don't want to jinx myself.
Right.
But
Right.
with no major stars on the team other than Jose, I'm just like, major stars. Stephen Kwan is a star, Josh Naylor is a star. You know, I don't want to get too far ahead, but I believe, hey, I believe that we will win.
I have a question for you guys.
Yes, sir.
How Brandy, you can go first. How real do we think Logan Allen is with this 6-3 record, but his ERA is near 6?
Oh gosh. Yeah, a lot of people have talked about that. It's hard when there's not too many times he's played and having an ERA like that, but I don't know. I guess we'll see as the season continues about him.
I'll take it. I'm
I
with
mean,
it. I'll take that high arcing ERA for those wins, and hey, that'll be what gets you through to the playoffs. I'll
he
take
gets a
it.
lot of run support. I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where previously, Guardians pitchers were not getting the run support they needed. Now they're getting the run support that they needed, even when they put themselves in a big hole. So, there's been some pleasant surprises coming, out of the rookies on this team. So that's definitely a good thing. I think that's it for baseball. So let's go ahead and get to the NBA. So the Cleveland Cavaliers still have not found a new head coach yet. It was overly ambitious for them to possibly think that they could have a coach in place, and they still might have one in place for June 20th, which is the night of the draft, to see what this team is going to do moving forward. So the top two names are Kenny Atkinson, which is a Golden State Warriors assistant, and James Borrego, which is a Pelicans assistant. excuse me, any thoughts with these two coaches? I'm kind of leaning in the Golden State direction because Golden State has a history of winning. The Pelicans really don't. But I think wasn't isn't James Borrego off the Miami head coach Eric Spoelstra tree?
I have no idea, but
I think he might be.
a name that should be on that list, of course, is Mark Jackson.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think Mark Jackson is ever going to be hired to coach basketball anymore. I think, I feel like he's kind of been blackballed from the league, and I think it could be kind of, because he's super religious. I think that might be one of the things. So I'm not entirely sure, but I think he's been blackballed, and I think he probably will never be able to coach in the NBA ever again. And I feel sorry about that.
I think he's gonna be okay.
Mark Jackson,
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
doing TV, ain't he?
Well, he got let go from ESPN.
Oh, he did.
Yeah,
Oh,
he's not doing the finals. Remember, it was him and Van Gundy and Breen.
oh, okay.
Right.
Yeah. So I don't know where I don't know where what he's doing right now, but I'm sure he's more than okay.
Oh yeah, he's fine. I don't worry about rich people's problems. I worry about mine.
Yeah, right. I know the feeling. But Atkinson from Golden State would probably be. I mean, he's from the Steve Kerr tree, so he's gonna bring that system. Obviously, they're gonna have to make some personnel changes. Um, when you have Garland and Donovan that are kind of the same guard, if you will, um, one of them is gonna have to go.
Well, I think it's definitely been put out there that if Donovan Mitchell does choose to resign here in Cleveland, Darius Garland is gonna request a trade and be out.
Mm-hmm. I agree,
Oh man.
Brady. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, I agree with you guys, going in that direction, picking Kenny as coach over the other options. But I don't know. I'm curious to see how that's going to work out for them. I think at the beginning of the search, those two, I guess, weren't names that were at the top of my list. But hopefully, it works out better than JB did with game management, all that stuff. If that can happen, then I'll be happy.
Mm-hmm.
So from
Yeah,
the outside looking in, why was Bickerstaff let go?
Brandy, I'll let you take this first.
I know a lot of people are mad because he, got the second round this year. But to me, I think, like I just said, there was a lot of problems with him doing game management, rotations. A lot of times coming out after halftime, there was no change in their game. But I think the one biggest thing to me is there was rumors that Jared Allen, Donovan, and other players didn't really get along with him. So I think if you wanted Donovan
Hear it.
to
Oh my God.
if you want Donovan to resign here, I think that was their first step, was getting a new head coach.
Oh, so he pulled a Magic Johnson against Paul Westhead thing. Okay, well, I mean, the superstar speaks the loudest in basketball, in pro basketball. But man, what are the chances that Donovan actually re-signs with you guys?
I think the chances are very high. At first, I did not think so, but I think the chances are very high because he's going to be able to make an astronomical amount of money. I think, so I think that the chances are better that he will resign. There's a lot of talk about stuff going on. One of the things that I want to address is a rumor is out there about them possibly going after Jimmy Butler, Jimmy Buckets, as I like to say, and most people like to call him. But Jimmy Butler is 34 years of age, so he's getting up there. So I don't know about that. I don't know if I want somebody on the tail end of their career, and he might have plenty of life still to play, but I like Jimmy Butler as a player, but I'm just concerned about the age thing. About right now he might be a little disgruntled with Miami, and I think he wants a long term deal, and I don't know if Miami will give him one. So they said that he might possibly become available for something. So I think that'd be a great pickup, but the age thing is one of the things that would get to me.
Hmm.
Jimmy
I agree
Butler.
with that.
Jimmy Butler coming off of a semi-major knee injury at that age.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm not with
Um,
it.
yeah, and he's probably gonna want somewhere in the neighborhood of, I don't know what he's making now, but I'm pretty sure he's gonna want a minimum of 45 a year.
Mm, mm,
Um, I don't know. And then Jimmy Butler is not going to get the Cavaliers closer to beating the Knicks than they are right now.
okay. Yeah.
In my opinion, he's a dog, and and I don't know if him and Donovan will be able to get along. It seems like their personalities would clash.
You think so?
I don't know. I just got a feeling. I don't know nothing.
Yeah, because Donovan looks to have mature players on it on this team, and I don't know if that's a dig at Darius because Darius is goofy. Jimmy Butler straightened his hair for media day, and
Right.
it looked terrible. It looked really dry. So I'm like, whoever did his hair should have put some grease or oil in there. So I don't trust his decision making, really. So Donovan, kind of has that. I don't know if they possibly might not be a big deal, but I'm just saying, you know. Um,
He looked
yeah,
like
I don't.
Jermaine Stewart.
Huh?
He looked like Jermaine Stewart.
Man, when he straight showed up to media day and then had enough nerves to be flinging his hair back, I was like, "What is wrong with him?" It was so dry. I'm like, that's the worst pressure curl I ever seen in my life. I'm like, what is going on over here?
Mhm.
So before we go to break, because we gotta take a quick break, Dallas versus Boston. This is a snoozer of a series. I said the Boston Celtics, prior to going into the series, would probably sweep them because one of the things that's been happening is that the Boston Celtics have been losing game two at home. They lost it against Miami. They lost against the Cavs. And then they rattled off, three straight victories after that. I was like, I didn't think that, that would happen. Well, it didn't happen. You know what? Could could Indiana had came out of that series if they won game one? I don't know. Things could have been different. Probably not. I had Boston as the best team in the league. Coming into this year, leaving out last year, even though they didn't win the title. I had them as the best team, so I have them winning this series, probably sweeping the Dallas Mavericks at this point. But this is a snoozer. I'm
Mhm.
over it.
Mhm. Mm.
It's not over with yet.
Yeah, it is. It's just a mere formality at this point. Are y'all enjoying the series so far? Boston, yesterday's game was a little bit more competitive than game one. So, Kyrie's not playing well at all. Luca's having to carry the load, So, oh, Willie, I forgot you in Dallas. I forgot temporarily you in Dallas. So, yeah, bruh, sorry, it's not going to happen this year for
It
y'all.
ain't my team.
Okay.
So, but I mean, I did choose. I did pick them to win in seven, and
Dallas or
yeah,
Boston?
that Dallas, because of what you just said. Really, part of it because of what you just said about the Celtics' inability to win the first two games at home all playoffs. And I thought that Jason Kidd would make the necessary adjustments, but they putting Luca in the blender, and he's being exposed really defensively for the deficiencies that he's already had. But I digress. I'll wait for the break to come through.
All right, well, we're gonna go ahead and take a really quick break. You're listening to Her in the Huddle on WOVU 95.9 FM. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to Her and the Huddle on WOVU 95.9 FM. This is your girl Rachel Hill, the First Lady of Sports, and I am here with Brandy Fairfax, and we're here with our guest host with us today, Willie Epting Jr. It's been a long time, but we're super glad to have him here. I told you guys that was going to be a really short break. But let's talk about we done talking basketball. Yeah, yeah, okay, that's everything. So Caitlin Clark, we got to talk to her. Brandy talked about her team playing tonight. This huge controversy over her not being selected for the Olympic team. What are you guys' just thoughts about that? And I'll take you first. I'll take you first, Willie.
Um, it's it's the right decision and it's the wrong decision at the same time.
Ooh, spicy. Give it to me, baby.
The reason why it's the right decision is because she ain't ready.
She didn't attend the tryouts either.
And she ain't, even if she did, she still wouldn't be ready. I missed that laugh, boy. Golly, I missed that laugh. She wouldn't be, she's not ready. And it's really, to me, it's not even a story, except for people like Stephen A. Smith and Shannon Sharp. I love Shannon Sharp. I'm losing more respect for Stephen A. every single day. He's been off the rocker with some of the things that he's been saying. I completely disagree with the fact that she needs to be on the team from a marketing standpoint. The last time I checked, your goal is to go win the gold. You got to put the best 12, 13, 14, 15 players on the plane and fly over there to, where is it at this year? Beijing? Paris. Oh, I'm way off. They've already had it in Beijing.
Yeah.
In Paris. So that's the reason why it's the right decision. And for the wrong decision, if you are out there just trying to generate more money or fandom for the league, then yeah, I could see that. But even if she does go, right, she probably won't play.
Mm-hmm.
She wouldn't get much time anyway. So I don't even think she's tripping about it. I think it's some of her supporters that are tripping about it.
Yeah, it's been turned into a huge racial thing as well, talking about discrimination against white people. And one of the things is, everybody wants to have this so called meritocracy, but Caitlin didn't earn it. She didn't attend tryouts and she didn't earn her spot. She's a rookie, like she's a rookie in the WNBA. She just graduated from college, and I don't even know if she graduated just yet. Um, I don't know. She might have, because she was a senior. But she opted. I kind of wish she stayed in college for her fifth year. I kind of wish she had chosen to do that, but there was no reason for her to do it. But there's been a lot of stuff suggested racism wise that, she was left off the team because she's white, but there's four other white women on the team. So it's kind of been stirred up that way, but she didn't earn it, and that's the thing. If, you want everything to be a meritocracy, it has to be a meritocracy when it comes to her as well, too. You can't just throw her out there for marketing and stuff like that, because people are going to watch the women's hoops team win gold. They're anticipated to win gold. People are going to watch them go out and win gold. So, they're going to do that, without Caitlin Clark. So she didn't really need to be there. And, right now she's struggling in the WNBA. She isn't even one of the best players right now. Angel Reese got left off the team, which is another sensational rookie. Carmela is it Caballo, I think. Carmela Caballo, got left off. She's 6'8", so these other rookies who, are playing better than her right now got left off too. So what do you expect?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's like looking at what the goal is. It's to win gold, or is it for marketing fans, like Willie said, or the best players? I think if you look at the roster that they have, she's not better than the guards right now that are on those teams. The guards that are on that list are champions, been multiple time All-Stars. So
gold medalist.
Right. And they've been successful the past few years with the Olympics. So I think, like you said, either way, without her or with her, they were probably going to win the Olympics. So I don't know. I think there's something different every day with Caitlin or Angel Reese, like something every day, every time they play. So I don't know. I wish they would just leave these rookies alone and let them play. You know, that's all they're getting asked about in media interviews and things like that. And I feel like you could tell sometimes Angel and them, they're getting, annoyed with the media in their interviews. So I'm hoping stuff like this calms down for them.
Yeah, because pretty much like Willie has said that they're saying because she's popular, she should have made it. And, how would they like that in their careers if somebody had told them, well, this person's more popular than you, they should be over you? What if Shannon, when he played, was told a teammate was more popular than him, so this person is going to make the team over you and you going to get cut? How you think that they would feel about that?
Yeah. I just think that for people like Stephen A and Shannon Sharp, with the platform that they have, with the amount of people that tune into them every single day, I just think that for them to really put winning the gold on the back burner is kind of moronic. And Shanae and Andrea Carter,
Hmm.
they put them in their place, and they don't like that because what they're saying, number one, Andrea and Shanae Obumake, they played in that league, so they know what's going on. Monica McNutt too. So I just think that for them to continuously say, well, from a marketing standpoint, she absolutely needs to be there. Nobody cares about that. They want to win the gold, man. They have a chance to do something that even the men haven't done, which is win 8 straight goals in 8 straight cycles.
Right.
It's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
so yeah, so they're gonna win a gold medal without Caitlin Clark, so that'd be fine. But she should be She should be on it because she's popular. That's that marketing wise. I'm just like that's just it doesn't matter. And obviously, those the people who picked that Olympic team knew who was going to be the best players, one of the best players in the world. And they went ahead and picked them, knowing that they're going to win this gold medal in Paris. And it's not like Caitlin doesn't have other opportunities to play in the Olympics. She'll have other opportunities, God willing that she's not injured or anything like that. She'll have opportunities to play. So why does she have to do it now?
Right.
Exactly.
Right. 100. I just think that, I mean, for me, she's going to be a very, very good player. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Look, if they did this to Candace Parker, then they'll do it to her. Is Caitlin Clark the player that Candace Parker was? Well, we'll see. They
Hmm.
play different positions. I understand that. But
Mm-hmm.
Candace Parker was a dog, man, and she could do it all. And for Caitlin, she played in a conference in the Big Ten with Iowa. And yeah, they did go all the way to the Final Four last year, or to the championship game last year, and the Elite Eight before that. But she has some holes in her game that she has to fix. If you notice, she has to wind up her jumper from the right side and then come to the front. That's kind of easy to defend if you're a really good defender, because all you gotta do is make her go left.
Hmm.
Yeah, she committing a lot of turnovers too.
Mm-hmm. So yeah,
Something that, yeah, something that wasn't, too characteristic of her in college. And that's like how you were saying, it's easy to defend.
I shouldn't say easy because she still is the all-time score leader in college
Yeah,
basketball
she a
history.
baller.
So I
She a
shouldn't
baller.
say easy, but it when you go up to that, when you go from college to the professional levels, they pick up on those nuances a lot faster.
Well, Willie, I want to thank you so much for being here today. It was an excellent conversation, Brandy. As always, thank you so much. You
Yes.
guys have been listening to Her in the Huddle on WOVU 95.9 FM. We are out of here.
Still